Well, we asked, you told us. You wanted Beau Weaver, and this week, he is our special guest here on EWABS.
He'll be coming in by phone, and we'll be talking about the latest gadgets he's played with, and a topic that I've been interested in sharing with you guys, SoundStreak. Beau's tested it out. I've tested it out. We'll talk about the positives and the negatives and why we're not already using this technology.
That's right. And with my tip of the week, we're going to talk about processing presets. Should be an interesting discussion.
The iPad 3. No, I don't have one. But I will talk about my thoughts about the product and is it worth the upgrade?
We'll see. And I've got a review of something that I've been waiting for a year. The Apogee MiC has finally arrived.
And I've also got your studio picks of the week. Coming up next on East West Audio Body Shop.
He's the voiceover studio engineer of the Stars in Los Angeles, California, a Virginia Tech grad with a knowledge of recording studios unmatched in his field. He's a voice actor from Buffalo, New York, with 30 years experience in recording studios and behind the mic. He solves people's home voiceover studio problems in the blink of an eye. Together, there's no studio problem they can't solve, and they'll do it for you tonight. Welcome to East West Audio Body Shop. Now, live from a basement in Buffalo and an office in LA, here are Dan Leonard and George Whittam.
I'm Dan Leonard.
And I'm George Whittam in the West. East West Audio Body Shop. It is pretty yucky, actually. We're getting, it's like a weather inversion today. You guys are getting our weather, we're getting your weather. I mean, this is craziness. What the heck's going on? Absolutely, we are going to be live. And I got to, right now, fix an audio problem because it magically switched inputs. Yeah, how fun is that?
I don't know.
How about now?
Can they still hear me?
They can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah,
so I got your voice back, Muppet Dan.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Hey, I told you this is nobody has to know that this is something else going on here. But right. Anyway, yeah, this is Muppet me actually. So I got to fix this mustache. Jeez. What is with this? You don't put enough wax on it, and suddenly it's Anyway, so we're having like weird weather this week. I've got my shorts on. It's it's like June and March here. So, but I'm looking forward to being out in California next week, and hopefully the weather will improve by then. And we'll see what happens. But tonight on our show, as hot as it is here, excuse me a second, as hot as it is here, we've got Beau Weaver is our guest tonight on East West Audio Body Shop. And I know all of you are real excited to see him coming on the show, right?
He was he's backed by popular demand. So I'm really glad he's going to be joining us. He will actually not just be on the phone. He'll be in the studio, actually in his studio or in his house at least, and he'll be on camera. So that'll be fun to see Beau and to hear what he's up to lately. That man plays with more audio gadgets than anybody else, I think, than both of us.
Well, he must. Well, I don't think he has as much time on his hands as we do, but
he still manages to find the time. I don't know how.
It's true. Very interested to see what he thinks about a couple of things because, I want to talk about the mic. Well, not the mic, but mic itself from Apogee, which I've been waiting for so long. And, we'll see how it works. I mean, I used it on my tip of the week this week, so we'll get a chance to hear what it sounds like there, but I want to get his impressions of it too.
Yes, we have mic and we have iPad. Now, we'll see if Beau has it. I don't think Beau has it. He would have probably told me by now, but we'll see. But I have a few thoughts about iPad and whether it's, what do they call it? New iPad? The iPad? I call it iPad 3. I think that's, makes sense. But the big things we want to talk about especially include SoundStreak as well. And I'm going to jump into that I think I'm going to talk about SoundStreak mostly during the second half when we have Beau, because he has probably a lot to share on his thoughts about how that technology works. But in the meantime, Dan, would you like to go grab that Apogee mic and tell us a little bit about it, your experience with using the mic and how you feel it's been working out for you, whether it's lived up to the expectations? Because we've certainly had a lot of expectations about this new product from Apogee. It's been building up for a year now.
Yeah, it has. And what?
Are we back to normal now? What happened?
I had a little bit of
Actually, I'm confused. Which is this the Muppet now, or is this Dan? That wasn't as smooth as we had hoped, folks, but hey, it was a lot of fun. Who made the Muppet?
We're gonna see here for a second, but okay, well, we'll have to look at those later. Anyway, here's the Apogee mic. It finally showed up. Yeah, no, I mean, I saw this advertised by Apogee almost a year ago, and I said, well, this is going to be a total game changer. This is going to allow people to really, 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 really record on the road, because it's not. I mean, not only is it just for iPad, it also is a USB mic, and which opens up all sorts of possibilities, because you can throw this on your MacBook or an iPad or an iPhone, which I actually messing around with this week. And the fidelity is no different from an iPhone than it is on an iPad than it is on your Mac. It's just that good. Plus, you can control the volume from here, so you can check the levels. It gives you a little red light or green light. First it's blue, and then it turns green when it hooks into your iPad or iPhone or into your Mac, and then flash yellow, red, and it'll give you a level, and you'll know when you're overmodulating on it. And because it's designed as a mic, as a regular condenser mic, it has really good sound to it. I believe what they've done, and I'm sure they've probably improved the technology a little bit. It's probably an Apogee One circuit in there.
Yeah, probably like an Apogee One preamp and converter,
along with a better capsule in there. And although the mic that was on the Apogee One, the built-in mic in there was actually pretty good, the proximity on this is a little bit better. You had to be real close on that one. But this one is, if you use it right, I've got to get the adapter. Now it only has an adapter that works with this little stand that it has.
Is that a standard 1/4" 20 tripod thread?
It's a camera tripod thread. And but they make a thread for an adapter for this that goes into a regular mic adapter, so I'll be able to hang it like this, and at the normal rate, remember, 3 inches, 7 inches from the mic, that sort of thing.
So can you use that mic literally use it like you would any other studio condenser mic? It really is just a very small portable studio condenser mic, right?
Yeah. I haven't been able to experiment with that. I've been pretty busy this week, but I did play with it, and it seems to work that way. I mean, just plug it in using the USB cable. I mean, it has those interfaces that it'll either go into the iPad with the 30-pin connector or with a regular USB. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I mean, a real versatile product and a really good USB microphone. So
now the only catch on it is truly an only Apple. It'll only work with Mac and iOS.
So
well, there are some people out there that are, still hanging tough with the PCs.
And I've had conversations with them this week.
Yeah, me too.
and they're the ones that have all the problems. So
generally, I have to say that's true. I mean, when it comes down to troubleshooting odd problems that are unpredictable, it most often is a result of some Windows issue, whether it's 64-bit or 32-bit or 7 or Vista or something. It often is a problem caused by that. But there is a mic from Blue coming out called the Digital Spark, and I'm tempted to get that one because it's the same price as the one you have, but it is truly universal. It's iOS, Windows, or Mac.
All right. Well, we'll have a little shootout with it.
Yeah.
I don't believe in mic shootouts, though.
Yeah.
I get emails from people and calls from people saying, What mic do you recommend? Well, can I hear your voice, please? Can I hear what your studio sounds like? What's your budget? It's not a one-size-fits-all sort of situation. You really have to have, you have to have more information than that. And you've got to be able to understand what other people's voices sound like and what's going to really be best for them. And not every mic reacts differently, reacts the same with everybody. So who knows?
Right. Well, Jody did make a good point. When a Mac breaks down, it needs to be replaced. Well, there's some truth to that. I mean, they do get serviced. There's a lot of Mac service people out there. You don't have to go to Apple, so they can be repaired. But I think the worst Macs to repair are the iMacs, just because they're very difficult to take apart, and everything is inside that one screen. That's the only problem.
They seem to have lost my voice there, George.
There's something. It's the Skype issue of the week is that you cannot talk when I'm talking. You are muted automatically.
Can't talk over you.
Nope.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good evening, and
the Skype problem du jour.
Yeah. We're working on getting Source Connect to do this, but. Mm-hmm. We have to add more stuff to the Hydra to make it work if we're going to have our guest on too. But
yeah, we did have Source Connect going before leading up to the show, and it does sound awesome. But since Beau's coming in on Skype this week, we decided to we try to not add too many new variables and just stick with Skype.
And we're paying the price now. So
apparently,
okay. So we've got Beau coming on tonight. We've talked about Mike, although I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about it when Beau comes on, because I want to hear his impressions. And you want to talk about the iPad, whatever number it is.
Yeah, the iPad new.
Yeah. So what have you heard about it so far? I mean, what I've heard is like, yeah, it's got a nice screen.
To my honest, the best thing to me about the iPad new is that you can now get an iPad 2 for less money. That to me is the big feature. I mean, everybody knows the screen on the iPad new is awesome. It's incredibly sharp. It's completely overkill in sharpness, in regards to sharpness. And that's amazing enough. The resolution on the new iPad is actually higher than a 1080p television, a full HD TV. So it's pretty remarkable. And, the one thing I can see that being an improvement for when it comes to the use for voiceover is that now when you read copy on your iPad, the copy is going to be much sharper than it used to be. Even when you have to like zoom in to read something that's small print, it'll still look really sharp. So that to me is a big advantage. It's got faster graphics. That stuff's for gaming. It's got now if you've got deep pockets and you don't mind having yet another data plan, you can get the LTE 4G modem on that thing, and that's pretty awesome. But how many of us that would buy an iPad 3 in the first place don't already have some kind of other high speed connectivity on a phone or something that they can share with, right?
Right. I mean, what have I got? I've got my Wi-Fi. I have 3G. I've got what else do I need?
Yeah, exactly. But to me, like I said, the big news to me is the cheaper iPad 2. $399 for an iPad 2 now, and $350 if you go to the refurb store. And I'm a big fan of the Apple refurb store.
Now I'm seriously considering that. I mean, I like my 2, mm-hmm. which unit. I mean, nothing beats reading email in the morning with that thing than anything else. And I've never had a problem with the screen. I would like to see Flash available on the iPad.
Never going to happen.
I mean, you can watch YouTube videos on there. I guess they've figured out a way to do that, but it's kind of tough. But you can watch our show on it, which is kind of cool.
Oh, good question.
People are watching EWABS on their iPad right now. Let's see a show of hands here.
Anyone? Bueller?
Let's see. Never. Yeah, okay.
Roger. Hey, Roger. Okay. Actually, here's a question. Another voice says, does it fit in the Alesis I/O dock? That is a very good question. It is slightly thicker, like I think 1 millimeter thicker.
Well, do you take the adapter out then?
Yeah, I guess so.
Still works on the 30 pin. Of course, if anybody wants an I/O dock, I have one, because Mike showed up, and I have no need for the I/O dock anymore.
Mm-hmm. I know. Yeah, I mean, did the I/O dock give you zero latency monitoring for those people that use headphones?
Yeah, I'll cut myself out of that one.
Oh, go ahead. Did you? I got stepped on you. Did the? Don't you have the dock?
I have the dock, but I only used it once. Figured out that I have to go into input 2 on it, and then Mike became available. And I'm like,
okay, kind of forgot about it.
So maybe I'll do a giveaway next week.
Really?
Yeah, maybe I'll bring it with me. Yeah, more to shove in my suitcase. Bringing a whole TV studio, I'll throw the I/O dock in there too.
What's happening next week?
FAFCON.
Oh yeah.
Together in the same studio. We'll get to hang out together all weekend with all of our other voiceover peeps.
I'm really looking forward to that. I everybody else that has to travel a lot further to come to it, I think have had that excitement factor going a lot longer. But this week I'm finally kind of getting ramped up about it.
I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of my good friends who, this will be my third FAFCON, and, and you friends, you know who you are because a lot of you watch the show. It'll be a pleasure to see all of you. And, somebody was asking me, are you going to be running any sessions or anything? And, we'll see what we sign up for and what people want to talk about. I want to get a little bit more about, get a little bit more voiceover stuff in, talk to more about voice acting a little bit, and get myself reacquainted with doing that, as opposed to all the technical work that I've been doing. But primarily I'm a voice actor. This other stuff is just fun.
Fun and a little bit of profit here and there, right? Yeah, I'm looking forward to finding out what it is that people need these days, and also networking with other people that do what we do, and kind of bouncing stuff off of each other, trying to find common ground so that the advice that's going around out there is consistent. I think that's a big thing.
No, it'll be great. You're going to love this. You're not going to feel like a fish out of water at all.
And I'm looking forward to doing FAFCON with multiple cameras, and we're going to use my my now new and improved, more stable Hackintosh computer, and be able to do some really cool switching, and we'll be able to actually be able to use Ustream Producer and switch cameras. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yes, we won't be those of you who remember, I had that little analog switcher last time. It looked like a public access show in Moscow.
Something like that.
It was watched episode we've had of EWABS, so we'll be doing that next week, and I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, we got more stuff coming up in just a little bit. Beau Weaver will be joining us in just a couple of minutes, and I've got my feature coming up this week, my tip of the week, coming up, talking up a little bit about presets. So stay right where you are, and we'll be right back here on East West Audio Body Show.
We're back.
Hear that. Okay. Little technical problem. So this is what we call Make Good Live Spot. Lots of stuff coming up. I got a webinar coming up in April 16th on VoiceOver Extra. Go on over there. We're going to talk about multi-tracking Multi-tracking is going to be very interesting. For those of you who want to learn how to do production work and how to put music and sound effects under your voice properly, it's not just laying stuff underneath and all that. We're going to talk about that April 16th on VoiceOver Extra. And for those of you in Toronto, everybody in Toronto wave or say hi. Okay. On, what is it? April 14th, I believe. No, it's the weekend before that. I'll have to check my calendar. We're doing a live, it is April 14th. That's Saturday. We are doing a live workshop on home studios. So sign up for that one. That's going to be over at with Ellie Ray Hennessy and over at the studio on. God, I can remember. I wasn't prepared to talk about this because we're supposed to run the home studio master spot, but this is live TV.
This is just better.
I'm winging it here, all right? And I'm going to fly away with it. We're doing one. I'll get the dates on that. I wasn't quite ready for that. But we'll be doing a live a workshop. Sign up. There's a website for it. We'll get the web address for it. Pat, put the web address up there for you, would you? Yeah, I know you've got it. Oak Studio, thank you. The Broadview Studios. Which one is it? Is it the Oak Studio or the Broadview Studio? Is it the Broadview Studio on Oak? They moved from Broadview. Now they're the okay. Broadviewstudios.ca. This is why I have staff in Canada doing this stuff for me. This is going to be a great little workshop. Bring your computers. We're going to talk about how you set up a home studio properly. So if you have friends in Toronto who are like, I go to somebody else's studio, it's time for them to learn how to do that. Okay. So anyway, did I get the date right? Saturday, April 14th. And that is when we're doing that particular one. And I think then the other one is on April 10th on the VoiceOver Extra. Go over to VoiceOver Extra. Florian will figure it out. He'll tell you when it is. Multi-tracking. Then in Toronto, live. Not quite on Yonge Street, but close to it. I'll be doing a workshop on home studios. I am sorry, Pat. That was the worst commercial ever. But at least we got it out there. Anyway, we'll be right back. So let's go to the bumper now, and we'll come back and we'll act like it was a totally recorded spot.
This is East West Audio Body Shop with Dan Leonard in the East and George Whittam in the West. Now back to two characters that didn't have anything else better to do, Dan and George.
And it shows.
Especially on nights like these. No. No.
It's just, we don't rehearse this show. This is live, off the cuff. This is improv. By the way, speaking of improv, I take an improv class, and yesterday I received a rather major improv injury. Look at this. Road rash. If you can see that, we were doing this weird game where we're like, maybe if some of you have done improv called attacker and defender. Well, I was trying to keep my defender in front of me, between me and the attacker, and somebody tripped me. We were outside. It was gorgeous weather. Boom. I have a lot of respect for old people that fall because I landed on my hip, on my wallet, and behind my wallet was my keys.
Oh, hey.
When I woke up this morning, the shoulder wasn't working too well, and the hip's got quite a mark on it in the shape of my car keys, and so
not fun.
Hey, but you get up, people. All right, get back to the game. Anyway,
dust yourself off and start all over again.
Which is what I did. So anyway, tip of the week. This ought to be interesting. We've got our tip of the week this week is we're going to talk a little bit about presets. Mm-hmm. People use lots of processing or want to have no idea what they're doing. Give this a listen.
Here you go.
If you're new to digital recording, or recording at all, you're probably confused just by the word processing. You know the terms, EQ, compression, noise gating, normalizing. But how do you learn what to use and when? There are some shortcuts that can help you along. It's just like your favorite restaurant. They have standard fare that you know and love. They hit on what you like and consistently deliver it. Recording software is no different when it comes to processing. Most of the recording and editing software we use has presets. These are predetermined filters and effects designed for our specific purposes. When you open an effect, there'll usually be a drop-down menu with all the presets for that certain effect. Also, you can make adjustments and save those adjustments as a customized preset. Even the simplest and cheapest software has presets. Audacity clearly is limited with only a few adjustable parameters in some of its effects. If you're on a Mac, though, Audacity has all the Apple effects, the AUs, and some of those have more presets. For example, for reverb, it will give you a selection of different size rooms to recreate an appropriate reverb or echo. When you move up to more sophisticated software like Audition, you get lots more choices when it comes to presets. You get different compression schemes, dynamics, processing, and the like. The best part is they have names that describe what each does. For example, it has de-essing and de-shing presets for both male and female voices. The Dynamics processor has over 30 presets, ranging from a broadcasting limiter to my personal favorite, voiceover. There are several gating presets too that make setting up a noise gate much simpler. There are also some mastering presets that tell you exactly what they do. Plus, there are tons of plugins that you can find simply by doing a search for what you want, like a simple noise gate plugin or a certain type of distortion to make your voice sound creepy, or a phaser, or chorusing to multiply your voice. Each site explains how to install them in your plugin directory, and when you open the effects rack, it will be listed there. Some are free, some are not. So how do you learn to use them? As I tell everyone after I teach a concept, go out and play. But as we talked about with front-end processing, with effects in post, it's non-destructive filtering and editing that is not permanent. You can easily restore the file to its original sound. So ease your processing learning curve and end your confusion. Explore your presets and how they can make your audio sing. And that's my tip of the week.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody was wondering, is that a Ted's hot dog? Yes, it was Ted's hot dogs. See, people don't come to Buffalo. They don't get charcoal broiled hot dogs. Ted's.
Are those hot dogs boiled there or charcoal broiled?
They are charcoal broiled on a charcoal grill right in front of your nose, and it's a great place.
When I used to eat hot dogs, that was the only way I like to cook them.
That's the way we get them here in Buffalo.
That's
so
right.
you all have to come and have a Ted's hot dog on me.
Do they have a vegetarian one?
Do they have a carrot dog? No, there's another place in town called Old Man River that actually has a nut dog, which is actually it's called a bunny dog, and it's a carrot.
Beautiful.
So,
well, presets I think make the world go around when it comes to doing voice acting production. I mean, it's you don't need to do a lot of effects. That's the thing. Don't go over the top. Just because you have all of this power to your disposal doesn't mean it's time to go hog wild with lots and lots of special effects. That's really only relevant, I think, if you're doing a fully produced piece of audio. I know Pat Fraley is unique in this, in that he likes to do a dry audition, and then he likes to do a version of his voice sort of produced as though it was in the final spot.
Right. I'll do that too on an audition too. Sometimes it depends. I mean, you have to listen to that little voice in your head that says, should I or shouldn't I? And sometimes you just gotta get a feel for that of when you should use a little compression or something along those lines. But that stuff we'll talk about in the coming weeks.
Yeah, it's a matter of taste. It's a matter of experience, and knowing who your client is. And if you don't know who they are at all, Who was it recently that said I record 2 versions and they're just back to back on the same reel?
I think it was Roger Leopold. Was it you, Roger?
I can't remember if it was Roger. Somebody in the last week or two told me that they will actually have 2 different versions on the same audition, and they'll just say, there'll be a beep, and then you'll hear the second version of the audition afterward.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. He said it was Mike.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mike McColl said that. That's right.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's right. So
thanks, viewers.
That's right. You guys, you make the show. We don't need staff. We have all of you guys.
I know. I'm slowly recruiting you guys. Eric Espinosa, he's on board. We always forget to thank him. I thank him in the show notes, but Eric Espinosa creates our show notes for us every week. And that's just one thing that's off my plate now, just to have all that written out in a nicely formatted way with the links. I really appreciate you doing that, Eric. Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's huge.
All righty. Well, I think it's time we get Beau in here. So why don't we take a break right now, and we'll bring Beau in here, and Beau will talk to us until midnight, right?
You got it. We'll be right back.
All right. Stay right here.
Recording services.
Randy Thomas chiming in.
This is Alex Verdi.
Hi, this is Bill Ratner in Los Angeles.
Hi, this is Scott Rummel here in Yorba Linda, California.
Hi, my name is Rick Wasserman.
Hi, this is Tom Kane.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Marshall.
Hi, my name is Zurich.
Hi, I'm Mary McKittrick.
Hi, I'm Peter McHugh.
I was turned on to George by none other than Don LaFontaine, who always swore by his health.
George is absolutely awesome.
ISDN, Source Connect, Phone Patch, FTP, you name it, George has set it up.
It's really the best thing I've ever done for myself. I feel free, safe, fearless, like anything is possible in here.
Unless you like to look for opportunities to waste time, call George.
And he did all of that, long distance over the phone and the internet.
I'm very happy with George, and I cherish
I've got my travel kit, I got my Source Connect, I've got it all going on, thanks to you.
Thanks, George. You make it easy.
All right, we're back here on East West Audio Body Shop. Thanks for sticking with us. Like I said, the 2 cans and the string just continue on. It's going to be a much shorter string next week, though. I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
But now, what we've all been looking forward to, one of our very special guests, somebody you guys asked as our number 1 requested guest, Beau Weaver. Welcome back to East West Audio Body Shop.
Thanks for having me by, guys. It's big fun for me to get to talk about technical stuff with guys who know as much as me.
Well, yeah, you play with this stuff. I mean, we play with it too, but you've got everything. Now, there was a couple of topics we wanted to talk with you about. One of them was SoundStreak, because you've been working with that for a while, at least had some involvement. Tell us what SoundStreak is all about and what your impressions of it are.
Well, SoundStreak is a way to get audio to the client in almost real time, with very little input from the talent. It requires you to download and install a little applet. It's like a little browser helper app, I guess you would call it. And it has on one side of the screen a place for the copy. I'm reacting a little bit to the delay that I'm seeing on the Skype screen. So I'm going to hide it a little bit. I'm going to hide it so I can't see you guys. So on one side of the screen, it has a place for the script. And on the other side of the screen, if there is video that they want you to read to, you actually can read to the video. But what this thing does is the producer on the other end is running the same software, and it records takes on your. If you're the talent, it records completely transparently to you. You don't have to know anything. It does this automatically. It records the audio on your machine, and on a take-by-take basis. And when the producer on the other end says, okay, I like that take, he can click it on his side, and it uploads to him via a built-in FTP in the background automatically into a folder on his desktop. So this is not actually live. He's hearing it live, but it's recording on your end, and then it uploads to him as he selects the takes. And you know, they originally designed this to make it possible to record to picture, which is something that we do mostly with the networks. Now, the networks are probably not going to use this system because they are very reluctant to allow any kind of a IP connection into their private production networks. A lot of resistance to that. But where it can be really good is when you don't have bandwidth that's good enough for Source Connect. And you guys have probably talked about Source Connect quite a bit. As nice as it is, when it works, it requires at least 300 kilobits up and down. And, you know, if you are like trying to work from a hotel in Maui, good luck trying to get that kind of bandwidth. Unless you have installed a private line of some sort into your hotel room ahead of time, you're not going to get that. And so Source Connect ends up being really useful when you're going from one studio to another, one big stationary professional recording studio to another. But on the go, not so much. This SoundStreak can make it possible for you to record with really limited bandwidth, because the only problem limited bandwidth gives it is it will take a little bit longer for those takes to upload in the background while you're doing the next takes, which isn't much of a problem.
Yeah, Beau, have you used it enough to figure out what happens when you finished with the one session, they've bought 7 takes or whatever, you go to the next one, you log on to the next session, you do the next session, they buy 5 takes, and so on and so forth. Well, I would imagine there's got to be a bit of a backlog that starts happening, right?
That would be the problem. One of the things I don't think that they have thought about is a lot of the guys who are the top guys in this business do sessions in 15-minute increments.
Yeah.
Once they're done, they got to move on to the next. So you do not have the time to sit there keeping the connection open, allowing those takes to upload in the background. Now, how many of those guys are there? There's about 5 of those guys on the planet who are booked that tightly. So for them, it might be a problem. For most people who, if they're lucky, have a couple of sessions in a day, maybe aren't scheduled that tightly, so it's not a problem. But it is something that I will bring up the next time that I talk to them, and I do owe them a call. I've done several test sessions, and the results are fine, but it does require the client to
jump through a few hoops,
to wrap their mind around a different way of operating. And I find that telling a client who is on a real tight production schedule, and he's and recording the voiceover is not the only thing he's got on his mind. That's one of the post-production tasks he's working on. And to try to tell him he now has to operate in a different way, to install a thing and learn how to, okay, this menu and that menu and where are the files going to go and how's that going to work, and to train this client to work on a take basis rather, okay, so now I have a folder full of takes rather than one continuous file with the entire session in it, which is what he's used to.
Yeah.
You can make a case for, you ought to work this way because it's better, and you might even be right. But you think you're going to change the way this guy operates, especially when he's in a tight production situation?
Yeah.
I find it to be a difficult sell, and it's one of the reasons that the ISDN codec remains, at least in the world that I work in, the way it's done is because it's it's already there, it's already installed, and that's the way those guys work. And they don't have to think about it. They go and press 2 buttons, boop, boop. Now he's connected, he's recording, okay, press 2 buttons, now you're disconnected, done. It doesn't have to think about anything. So, if you have a brand new client who is trainable in working with SoundStreak system, it could be a really, really great thing. But I just find that to be a tough sell.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's for very specific types of things. For doing short types of things, where you're doing promo and you've got to do a lot of different takes, and not for long format or for something that's over a couple of minutes.
How about working the picture?
Yeah.
Well, it's designed for working the picture, and if you were doing that, it's great. It could be really great. But I just find that I believe none of the clients I currently have who work to picture would consider using this. They already have the ISDN codec installed. They've already got the system set up. Their workflow is designed. And when you're asking a client to change his workflow, it better really produce a huge benefit to him. And the fact it's cheaper, well, he's already, he bought that ISDN codec 9 years ago. It's long since paid for.
Yeah.
So
it's a hard thing to get people to break something that ain't, fix something that ain't broke.
Exactly.
That's right.
But it's a really interesting system, and if one does have a client that needs takes more quickly than it downloading a 200 megabyte session file would take, if they, it could be a really great thing.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that.
I think the bottom line is it's another tool in the tool belt. Yeah. And, as a voice talent with a home studio, yes, it's something new for you to learn. It's something new for you to have on hand, and it's something for you to advertise that you have available.
It doesn't cost you anything, because the current model is the producer pays for it. Now, I've told them I think that's a problem, because there are a lot of, since, when I'm doing documentary stuff for the cable networks, they're accustomed to buying studio time at whatever studio in New York or Washington, D.C. they're working in. They're used to having some expenses that they pay for on their end. However, I also have a bunch of television station clients, and they would not be willing to pay anything.
Yeah.
To do. I mean, that's my responsibility, is getting the audio to them. So some clients it would work for, some it wouldn't. And I hope that they will actually adopt a flexible pay model at some point where a talent could buy a certain amount of credits, let's say, to use for clients that can't bear that expense.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is these guys are up against an almost insurmountable challenge, and that is adopting a new technology into the Hollywood, into a film industry that's so steeped in things that work. We don't fix what ain't broke, that's just, and so I applaud them for it. And I know they had a false start a few years ago, and they're giving it another shot, and, more power to them.
I like the changes, and I think it holds a lot of promise, and I'm going to do everything I can to help them think through how to make this thing work, because I'd really like to see it work.
Excellent.
We like any tool. I mean, I happen to be in full disclosure. I'm a dealer for Source Connect. I make money whenever somebody buys it from me. But I'm a fan of whatever technology that's out there that's going to make my clients have an easier time at doing what they do, and then in turn make their clients make them happy.
Talk to friends at Source Connect and tell them how inscrutably difficult it is to install. Now, maybe you don't want to, George, because of course that means that they have to call George to say, George, I cannot figure this thing out. Listen, man, I'm a smart technical guy. I'm one of the few guys who's a talent who's in George's ballpark in terms of technical understanding. And Source Connect makes me cry like a little girl. It's just impossible. It's got so many layers of crap that you have to install. It's just there's no excuse for it.
Yeah, I talked to them on just like you. Go ahead, sorry, Beau.
No, I was just saying it doesn't work half the time,
Yeah, I mean, I think right now, in my clients, I'm telling them to get it as those that use ISDN and rely on it, very heavily for their career. I am telling them, encouraging them to get it as a backup. It's really saved a few of my clients' butts with ISDN dropouts and problems in the last few months. Has this been the case for you, or have you been lucky with ISDN?
Source Connect is connecting to a studio as a bridge.
Yeah.
And the bridge is to somebody who's using the aptX system.
Yep.
But I've never done at this point a direct Source Connect to Source Connect session with anyone. Only as bridge. And for bridge work, I prefer AudioTX.
Yeah, you find the ATX tends to be just lower overhead, and do you have less delay on it?
It'll work fine with 128 kilobits upload. In fact, I've had it work fine on even less. It's solid as a rock. It's stable as a rock. It's much easier to install and maintain. And I've been using it for probably maybe 10 years.
Yep. Yeah, I think I had it for a while and sold mine to Bob Sauer. He made it work because he's a PC guy.
Right.
So that's one of the things about it. Well, I'm going back. What's that?
Bi-coastal.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. Let's move on to another thing, because we could talk about these technologies, and we're going to keep talking about them for a while. But we were talking about the Apogee MiC earlier. Did you get yours?
Yeah, I did finally, and I'm underwhelmed. It's okay. Okay. It's usable, but it is. I don't know what everybody else was comparing it to. I heard Joe Cipriano did an A/B comparison that sounded really, really great, and unless I got a dud, mine is like nowhere near a 416. Nowhere, not even close.
Yeah, it's just not up to your voice. That's all. Maybe that's what it is. You never know. Well, I've been fairly impressed with it. I mean, I've been waiting for it. It seems to have the same quality as an Apogee one, which I use and really like, but it's also got USB capability, and I guess it depends on the acoustics you're in and a lot of other factors. You have to be a little bit more in proximity to this than I would say to your average condenser mic, though. That might have something to do with it.
Yeah, and it definitely needs a windscreen. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to use it off axis like almost any condenser mic, right?
Yeah, I was really holding out a lot of hope for this thing, simply because it does connect with iOS and Mac OS. Right now, though, I carry around that little tiny Tascam mic for emergency lines, and I have done sessions from my car on that little Tascam portable mic, and I don't think this thing sounds significantly better than the little tiny Tascam mic. It's a little bit better, but I would never say, oh yeah, I'm going to go ahead and not take my 416 on the road and just rely on this. Not in a million years.
So for its size and its price and everything, it's not like this huge upgrade from the Tascam, the little Tascam. What was that thing called? I can't remember the name of the Tascam mic. Do you remember?
I don't have it right in front of me, but
and then speaking of Tascam,
yeah, they've got a new interface coming out that I'm really holding out hope for. But we've had a rash of products announced that exist as vaporware forever. There's a company called Studio 6 Digital that has a wonderful looking professional grade audio interface for iPad and iPhone.
Yes.
That I've had on order, and they've been promising any week now since October.
Yeah. It was designed by a company that primarily makes it for studio acoustical evaluation, and they keep saying they're going to have it out. It's called, what is it called? Can't think of the stuff. I'm getting old. I can't remember the stuff.
Ace 2, I think, is what it's
called.
Right,
that's right. That's right. It's supposed to be excellent, and I actually sort of have a connection to the owner, but they've been very, very slow in getting that thing out. But apparently, some people say it's pretty good, but it's also a lot more expensive than everything else. So,
well, I want I want something that where I can use the 416, and because it needs to match. For me, it needs to match what I did last week.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm doing pickup lines for a promo that I did last week, it's got to sound the same.
Yep,
absolutely.
That's the bottom line. The 416 is the easiest. It's probably one of the easiest mics to get to match in varied situations.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those mics. I mean, people are always telling me there's got to be something better than this thing. And there's a lot of amazing microphones.
Yes, there are. And there are certain people like, oh, God, I can't think of his name.
Corey Burton?
Corey Burton. Hates it. If he walks into a studio and sees a 416, he might tear it off the mic stand and jump up and down and stomp on it. That's how much he hates that microphone.
Right.
And certainly for certain voices, it's not the best. But again, it forgives a poor acoustic environment, and it's easy to match from one day, 1 week to the next, one studio to the next.
Yeah, I mean, the mic, his weapon of choice would not suit almost anybody else, being that he uses this like a $4,000 ribbon mic, and it's not portable. You'd be nuts. I mean, I think he carries this thing around, but I mean, you got to carry the thing like you're carrying a nuclear, detonator in your bag. It's so delicate.
Of the prettiness of that microphone has to be EQ'd out for broadcasting. Broadcast processing gets rid of almost everything that Corey hears that he loves in that microphone.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's fooling himself personally.
Yeah.
But that's, there's an engineer who told me many years ago, he said, there's only one microphone in the world that's worth a solitary piece of shit. Really? What's that? And he said, the one you like.
Right.
And it is absolutely like saying, what's the best guitar?
Exactly. I say it's like, what's my favorite color?
I mean, and a guitar depends on the room it's being played in. This room that I'm in right now, it's probably very ringy to you. It's got a lot of wood, but people who play guitars in this room, it just sounds wonderful because of all of the, what it resonates with. And those wonderful condenser mics, those old Neumanns and, depend on the acoustic environment they're in. And if you've got really good ears and you can listen to a room and walk around and hear the reflections and say, oh, okay, this room, this mic would sound good in. If you've got those kind of ears, that's great. But especially in a dead room, those large capsule microphones mostly sound like you've wrapped a wet towel around them.
Yeah.
They need open space. They need a little bit of reflection, and they need, they need a lot of wood. They need something to resonate with, and then they sound fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, most of us are not lucky enough to have enough space to make those mics sound as good as they can sound, right?
Did I ever tell you, George, on this thing, the story of how that 416 became popular?
I understand. I don't think you've told the story, but I was told it by Mike Summer. And I've heard it one other time.
Do you have time for that, or you want to move on to some other things?
No, that's fine. I always hear the Barney Anderson story, but if that's what you're talking about.
Ernie Anderson? Yeah.
Ernie Anderson, yeah.
Ernie Anderson was the signature voice of ABC television for many years. And
Cougar.
And Ernie was a case, man. He was a cantankerous, cranky son of a gun. And there came one point in the late 80s when he became kind of paranoid. And there was a booth in PPS2 where they sweetened all the network promos there on the ABC Prospect lot that had a booth in it. And customarily, the voice talent worked in that booth. But at a certain point, Ernie decided he wasn't going to go in that booth anymore because he was sure that the line producers and the room producers were talking about him. And, they probably were, because he was a son of a bitch. And so he came out and said, okay, that's it. I'm not going back in there. I'm sitting right in here at the console, and you can mic me right here, because I want to listen to what you guys are talking about. And they thought, oh, no, what are we going to do? Because where the console was a very narrow little room with concrete block walls and a sliding glass door that went into a room that had a bunch of big 1-inch machines, making horrible noise, sounding like a jet airplane coming out of that machine room. And so one of the audio guys walked over to the General Hospital set and grabbed, actually it was the forerunner to the 416, the 415, the silver one that uses 12 volts. And he brought that into the room, thinking that'll pick up less of the ringiness of the room, since it's a shotgun used on booms, to mic actors in a stage situation. So they put Ernie on that, and sure enough, it didn't pick up any of the room, and he sounded great on it. And so he actually bought one, couldn't get the 415, they weren't making it anymore, bought the 416, and started carrying it around with him all over town, insisting that the other studios use it. And he was such a bully that in very short order, all the studios had this microphone.
That's a good way. That's the most concise version of the story.
Yeah. He was paranoid and didn't want to go in the booth anymore.
Yeah, one other topic we wanted to briefly touch on was the SAG-AFTRA merger. If you had any thoughts on that.
Oh, I'm a big supporter of it, and rather than get into the minutia of it, I will say, in general, all of the big studios, all of our employers are, as they call it, vertically integrated. They are multimedia. They're not one company doing one little thing. It's going to be used across all media, and the old categories simply don't make any sense. There was a time when anything that was mechanically reproduced was SAG, and anything that was electronically reproduced was AFTRA. But those lines have long since blurred. And a few years ago, because a group of radicals who were on the SAG board did not want to negotiate with AFTRA, the two had to negotiate separately. For many, many years, they negotiated the net code together as a single entity. But SAG was recalcitrant, and so AFTRA had to negotiate alone, and they negotiated what seemed to AFTRA and seemed to me to be a better contract. Actually, in some cases, the rates were lower than SAG wanted, but they were more appropriate to the industry, like video games, for instance. And over time, because SAG would not negotiate with AFTRA, the two unions became competitors. And what we've seen over the last few years is the television shows that had been traditionally SAG shows, a whole lot of them have gone to the AFTRA contracts. Only the big hour-long dramas, the scripted hour-long dramas that are legacy shows are still SAG shows at this point. And almost all of them have gone to AFTRA. And you've got producers pitting AFTRA against SAG. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. There have been there's been a lot of misinformation and disinformation put out by the people who oppose this merger, and I believe they oppose it mostly for elitist reasons. There are a lot of film actors who want SAG to remain an old boys club for film actors, and they don't want voiceover talent and people who do radio jingles.
Yeah, riffraff.
Yeah. They don't riffraff in their and they will cease to be meaningful at all in the industry if that's the approach they take. There's been a lot of misinformation and disinformation about the pensions, saying, oh, your pension will disappear, it will be half the size. None of that's true. None of that's true. I can't go into all the details, but I'm a very, very strong supporter of merger, and a lot of people haven't sent their ballots in. I urge them to consider it. One of the best endorsements for this is I have spoken to Nita LaFontaine, Don LaFontaine's wife, and she confirms Don was absolutely in favor of merger. The last time we considered it in 2003. Nita herself is a working SAG-AFTRA member, and in fact, she has a national commercial running right now for Cialis. Her livelihood and future for her girls depends on the pension she receives, from Don's work. And she's completely in favor of merger and confirms that Don was for it too. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the best endorsement you can get.
What do you think about those who are talking about joining AFTRA, as soon as possible, so that when the merger happens, they'll be sort of, they'll be grandfathered in, even though they know they don't have the SAG, they don't have the credits or whatever to do it to get into SAG.
Strategy about that is because once a merger is confirmed, once the votes are in and it's passed, then the details of putting the two together will be ironed out. Now, a lot of that has been decided. They had a lengthy process where members of both unions worked really hard on that whole the nuts and bolts of how to put them together. And I'm not privy to that. So I'm not sure what the best strategy is about, join now or join later.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest. I won't keep this a secret. I mean, I'm looking at this and going, if AFTRA is an open union and all I have to do is say I work in the industry, which I'm doing right now, can I join AFTRA?
The new rules will work.
I'm sorry, I'm cutting the beginning of what you said. Say it again, Beau.
I just don't know exactly how the new membership rules will work.
Yeah. But if I were to join now before the merger, join AFTRA because it's an open union, I'd be eligible, right?
I don't know how that works. I don't know how strategy works. I've been an AFTRA member since AFTRA and SAG member since 1972. I joined in Dallas. Where in many of the branches they do have joint offices, and I joined at the same time for one fee. So I thought the two were one when I first joined. I didn't realize that the two were separate.
Oh wow! So it's kind of coming around full circle in a way for you at least.
So operated a little bit differently than the unions in LA and New York.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it's we're glad to get more information on that. It sounds like we'll still have to wait and see see how all the rules work out and stuff. So I appreciate you throwing that information our way, at least in your opinion on it.
Yeah, well, Beau's opinion, carries a lot of weight for us because neither of us are obviously in the union at this point, and just to get the word from someone that's been in those unions for so long, we really appreciate that, Beau. Thanks for making time out of your weekend to be with us.
I always enjoy seeing what you guys do with the technology.
Well, tonight we're doing the best we can. Some nights are better than others.
Yeah, Skype is always our big X factor. But it allows us to do what we do. So, and it's still free for the most part. We're actually paying a little for the multi-video chat, but considering what it costs and what it does, we certainly can't complain. So, thanks again, Beau.
Yeah, thanks for being with us tonight.
Anytime. Bye-bye.
All righty. Beau Weaver, you wanted him, we brought him on here. So thanks for voting for Beau, and thanks for Beau for coming on tonight. We've got all sorts of more things to come up. It's getting late. Yeah, so what? We still got a couple things we want to talk about where we want to show your pictures, your studio pictures. We have some really good ones tonight, don't we? Who do we have? I know we got a few new ones this week.
Yeah, we're going to definitely share some studio pictures, but right before that, we want to talk about our sponsor, the only one we have, Harlan Hogan.
Harlan Hogan, yes. We like you people supporting us, but Harlan is our big angel. He's the guy that's making it happen for us right now. And we want you to go over to voiceoveressentials.com and see the great stuff that he has picked out for you personally. He says, okay, let's see who this person needs that, and this no, not quite that precise, but he's made it fairly easy for you to select the best stuff, the easiest stuff for you to get at great prices over at voiceoveressentials.com, aside from the great products that he has, like the Portabooth Pro and the VO1A, and the rack that you put the Portabooth on, and then the fact that the new Portabooth you can actually hook it up to a boom stand and that sort of thing.
I got the boom, the Portabooth that we clumsily unpacked last week, and Harlan saw that. I said, Harlan, you got to see this. He goes, you said you looked clueless. I was like, yeah, you got that. It was totally spontaneous. The thing was sitting there in the box, and I was like, oh, John, go unwrap that thing. But the new features really seem to be these straps that come around the corners and make the thing a lot more stable, so it doesn't want to wobble and collapse.
And want to fall off to the side, so to speak. Yeah.
That's his newest revision. So that. If you're thinking about getting one, that makes this thing a lot more usable. It also comes with a much better, much brighter, and longer-lasting LED light. So, but I'll bring that thing along with me to FAFCon. So anybody who wants to try the thing out can. Yeah,
we're going to play with that. We're going to see. I'm going to challenge Beau on this because I happen to think this mic is a great little thing, but I think we're going to try the Apogee mic inside the Portabooth Pro, and we'll see if we found a really good combination for perhaps maybe not up to Beau's standards, which we have to admit are excellent. He's got great taste. He knows his stuff, but let's see what kind of quality we get out of that.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, voiceoveressentials.com. Go on over there. And shop away because he's got everything you need over there.
Yeah, Dan, you know what? Let's reconnect Skype because after we video chat with somebody else, the audio quality just goes. And while you're doing that, I'll show a product on the on the voiceoveressentials.com website that I can show everybody. So
alrighty,
go ahead and call me back.
Okay, I'll try and do that.
Cool. I was looking for a product to feature this week, and I found Sony's, I keep saying Source. I got Source Connect on the brain. Sony's, what they call their audio studio. That's the SoundForge Audio Studio. Get Dan back on the call here. Hey, Dan.
I'm here somewhere.
Hey there. The Audio Studio 10, that's the latest incarnation of Sony's SoundForge. I think this is the best audio editor for Windows when you don't have to do production. When you get tired of some of the limitations of Audacity, and Adobe Audition is just too big of a step up at $350. This one I think really fits nicely in the middle, and for $55, this software I think is one of the easiest to learn. It has some really good powerful effects in it, and it seems to be the standard of the agencies. I've been in a number of agencies, SBV and William Morris and a couple others, and they pretty much and most of them are running PC, and they all seem to be using Sony SoundForge. So, and like I said, the Audio Studio version is $55 as opposed to the Pro version, which I think is over $300 as well. And the Pro version can do multi-track and all sorts of stuff. This has the right combination of bells and whistles. So definitely check out SoundForge. And thanks again, Harlan and VoiceOver Essentials, for your help.
Thank you, H squared.
You are the man.
Yeah, he is.
We'll get him on the show again soon to see what's new with him.
Yeah, we got to have a talk with Harlan. We like talking to Harlan, talking to him personally, but we love having him on the show too, and talking about the great stuff that he's got over there and all the fun stuff that he does in his life, and developing a lot of these interesting products that he has out there.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Photos
of the week, your studios. Remember, you can send the pictures of your studio, and no matter what shape it's in, I'm not going to send you mine because mine's a mess right now. I'm actually thinking of redoing mine. I actually think I have a concept now where I can rebuild in here, and then I'll be happy to. You know what we really need to do, George? I was thinking about this. Maybe, if you're building a studio with a client, why don't you start doing a feature about, with the actual video of you going through the steps of building one of these things, so people can see how incredibly expensive it is, and how it can be done, and how it can be done on a budget and still have a really outstanding thing. Which is why it's great that we see these other people's studios.
Yeah.
Who do we have tonight?
Well, the first picture I've pulled out of the mailbag is from Jerry Reed. He just sent us one shot, but it's a nice shot. It's a nice wide shot showing his entire setup. Let me pull it into the screen capture here and make sure we can see the whole thing in one wide open shot.
One fell swoop.
And let me switch to that take. There we go.
Oh, it is.
So Jerry Reed wanted to share his space and what he's working with. He keeps it simple, and he doesn't go out of the park with budget on equipment. He's got a World Working Man studio with a Rode NT1A and a Heil PR40. That's a mic we don't hear about much in the world of voiceover, but it's really popular in ham radio circles and in podcasting and in radio broadcast. Yeah. I think it's a really nice mic, but it's RE20 like. But probably a bit more bright sounding.
Yeah, it's interesting. Now you can tell he must have been a radio guy. There's a couple of clues here. One is the clock.
Oh, totally.
I mean, totally. It's the clock and the way it's all set up. But then you have to look all the way to the left in the upper left-hand corner, and you see what looks like a bookshelf, but what is actually there are tapes, probably from the early 70s to the 1970s into the 80s, because you can see the paper labels ripping off of them. I've got a pile of those too. That's a real radio thing. Reel-to-reel tapes. Can you see those, George?
Oh, heck yeah.
That's a dead giveaway. This is all this guy's commercials are all on there, and I asked him about it. He says, yeah, I got to digitize all that stuff, and that's going to be digitized, and all that will be, he can give it to Tom Hanks, and he can use it to keep his raft together on Castaway.
Well, yeah, we're getting more and more photos. Let me see what we got here. This is we got a series of shots from Adam Sherman.
Yes.
Let me bring his shots in. We got a whole bunch, so what I'm going to do is try to bring them in. Okay, I have to bring the browser window in.
Yeah.
So let me do
and remember, if you want to send your pictures in, it's ewabshop@gmail.com. And as you can see, people are sending them in, and we're putting them on. We've had some real interesting ones.
And those that sent them in a while ago, I apologize. I haven't been working backwards, but I plan to do that. Some of you haven't seen, yours haven't been on yet, but we're working on
green glue.
I definitely see some green glue going down. Now, this is interesting. I see green glue going down on those rubber floor mats that you can put in your shop or whatever to protect, to make it easier to stand for long hours. And then let's see, we've got the space. That looks like a video light or a TV or a camera flash. That's interesting. And then we've got, never hurts to have a picture of Dan and I.
The people have been doing it. We appreciate that. It makes us feel good that you watch us constantly while you're doing your voiceover work.
It's a pretty typical setup to me. We got Mackie monitors, a nice little 802. Looks like a Mackie 802 board.
Yep.
An MBox 2 Mini.
And a MacBook.
Yeah, and a MacBook. And then he's got some serious double solid core doors. Now, I will say, when you go buy your double doors, your solid core doors, don't buy the types of doors like you see he has, where the paneling is inset. Because what you're doing is taking a door that's 1.5 inches thick, and where those inset panels are, the door is like a 1/2 inch thick. So, it's sort of kind of defeating the purpose of having these heavy-duty solid core doors if they're paneled like that.
What's the best kind of door to put in a situation like that?
We always talk about fire doors or fire-rated doors.
Fire-rated doors,
they're exterior doors, and exterior doors generally have to have at least a 1 hour fire rating, or at least there's depending on where you are, that they're supposed to. And then the key is that they're solid core fire-rated doors. Some fire-rated doors are hollow and filled with foam, and so they have a steel outside or steel shell, which makes them, look beefy. But the only way to really tell, unless they give you full spec at the shop, is go to like one of those Home Depot type stores and just where they have the doors mounted where you can actually operate them, and push the door back and forth. If the door doesn't feel like it wants to knock you over, it's not a good candidate for a studio door. This door should be beefy and really it should have some serious mass to it. So a solid core fire doors, like a 3 hour fire door, is the way you'd want to go ideally.
All right.
What else we got here? I don't recognize that mic, but he might mention at the top.
That looks like a I can't quite see what that is. That's I think it's a Marshall of some sort, large Marshall.
Or it could be a Sterling.
Oh, it is a Sterling. It is. There's a little Saturn on there. It is a Sterling from our friends at Banjo Emporium.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's got a picture of the mic he would like to actually have. And then he's got and then another shot. So it's interesting space. It's got this really long wall on one side, and then he's got drapery on the other side. I'd be really curious to hear a sample from that studio. And maybe that's a new thing we'll do, guys, is don't just send in pictures.
Let's hear what your studio sounds like.
And send us a sample. And we'll make this more of a multimedia presentation. I think everybody will get a lot more out of it if it's a picture with a sound sample. And I know you guys have been kind of missing Bad Audio of the Week, and I think we had fun with it, but I think it kind of ran its course. There's how many different variations on background noise and bad acoustics can you really have? So we kind of calmed down on the bad audio. So I think maybe instead of bad audio, we'll start featuring good audio, and we'll start featuring the audio you guys are capturing with your studios, and accompanied with a photo. So I just came up with that idea right now, right off the cuff. But what do you think?
This is how this show works, by the way, if you haven't wondered.
Are we
George and I will talk. What?
Are we still in the air? Because this is like what we do after the show. We usually sit here and just shoot the breeze for a while about what we want to do.
But this is what people want to hear. This is the most amazing thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've been missing. I look at these pictures, and I'm always thinking, I don't really care what the thing looks like. What does it sound like? That's right. So let's do that. So from now on, when you send in your pics, send in a 60-second or a 30-second sample, and we'll play that along with it.
All right. Well, we're heading on towards the bottom of the hour here, and I'm sure a lot of you want to go to bed. I have to take more pain pills. If you've been wondering why I've been sort of like out of it, a little loopy. Like I said, I had a little bit of an accident yesterday, but I'm doing the best I can. I will be 100% for FAFCON with my walker.
Get rested up.
I'm going to be doing that. So we're going to be live next week. We're going to be on a little early though.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know exactly what it's going to be. Is it like 2 to 3 o'clock?
I think we're going to be on at 3 p.m. out in the coast, and we're going to be on at 6 p.m. here in the east.
Okay.
So, but I'll be out in the west, so I'll be Dan Leonard in the west, and you'll be George Wedham about 10 feet away from me. So,
Yep.
Yep. That'll be different. That'll be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody, and but we will put it on the website, and we will throw it out on Facebook and all our other channels of letting you guys know where we're going to be, and we will. You'll know exactly when we'll be on, and of course, if you're at FAFCON, we expect you to be in the audience.
We hope all of you can be in the. Any of you, our viewers who can be there, please be in the audience and make it more fun for us. And
that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, you have yourself a good week.
I will, and you have a great week too. And you guys all that have tuned in, thank you, and have a great week as well.
I'm Dan Leonard in the east,
and I'm George Whittam in the west,
and we are East West Audio Body Shop. We'll see you next week. Have a good one, everybody.
Take care, everybody.